Hey everybody, and welcome back to the board meeting. Today we are taking a look at and reviewing my Grail game from 2002. This is Star Wars Epic Duels. Now, why is this particular game my Grail game, my White Whale? Well, this game stemmed from another game that I really liked, Unmatched. Now, Rob Daviau created Star Wars Epic Duels 2002 for Hasbro and Milton Bradley. And then later on, Rob Daviau ended up making the company Restoration Games, which restored and renewed old games, tweaked them a little bit, and gave them more of a modern twist. And that's what he did with Star Wars Epic Duels to create Unmatched, which is one of my all-time favorite games. So I always wanted to get a hold of this game. I recently got a hold of it, and for a Grail game of mine that's been out of print for a very long time, it wasn't that expensive. I found it for about 80 bucks. I bought it used as well, but I was seeing copies that were new sealed for around $100. So for being a game that's been out of print for a while, been a game that's pretty hard to find, it's actually not that expensive compared to some of these other Grail games that people have. So I went and bought it. I've played it a bunch now, and we'll do a very quick overview of what this game is. This game is a battling game where you are taking teams of characters, fighting up against other teams, trying to basically kill them off and be the victor. And it has got the Star Wars theme attached to it, so there's that. And you're going to be doing this all through card play. Now, at the start, you're going to grab a team of characters, which is going to be like Luke Skywalker, and then every character has a sidekick person that comes with them. Luke Skywalker comes with Princess Leia that you can take. So you have this team. And then at the start of every turn, you're going to roll this dice, and that dice is going to tell you how many spots you can move and which characters can move. Basically, it's going to say one character can move 4 or 5 spots, 3 spots, or all of your characters can move 2 or 3 spots. Something to that effect. Then you're going to move your characters orthogonally, and then you're going to be playing the game and taking 2 turns. Each person takes 2 actions, I should say. So on your actions, the couple things that you can do is you can either draw a card from your deck of cards, or you can play a card. Now, there are 2 types of cards. There's the combat cards, which there are 2 different types of characters. There's melee characters and ranged characters. If you're a melee character, you can attack if you're adjacent. If you're a ranged character, you can attack if you have a line of sight to that character. You can't shoot through like walls. You can't shoot through other characters. And so these combat cards are going to have an attack value on them and a defensive value on them. So if you're a certain character, you're like, okay, I'm going to attack this character with this character, and you lay down a card face down. The other person has a chance to play a defensive card, so they're going to play a card. And so if you attack for 3 and they have attack of 2, they take 1 damage. And that's how the basic combat works for that. There are also special cards that comes in each deck that are special to each of these characters, and they're going to do more powerful, more unique things for that character. They're going to be like big attack or big defense or do some special ability for them. Most of the cards in the deck are going to be the regular combat cards, and about 30% or so are going to be these special cards. And you're just going to be attacking each other back and forth until all of the main characters of the other team are dead, and then the other team is victorious. And that's the very brief overview of what this game is, but it is a very light game. Now let's get into some of the different points of this game first, and I'm going to be comparing a lot to Unmatched, just because this is my Grail game because of Unmatched, so I'm going to be comparing a lot of these things to Unmatched. First, let's start with the theme and IP. This is obviously just Star Wars. This spans from the original trilogy to the prequel trilogy. So you have characters like Anakin Skywalker and young Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul, but you also have Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine. You have Boba Fett, and you have a lot of characters in this. And I have grown to really like the Star Wars IP over the years because the universe has grown so much that you can pick and choose what you like. Basically, I've found several shows that I really like from Star Wars. I like several of the movies from Star Wars. So it is an IP that has really grown on me. Where compared to Unmatched, Unmatched has the IPs of it are just a bunch of different stuff. I mean, you have Jurassic Park, you have real life characters like Bruce Lee, you have Marvel characters, you have people like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and the Invisible Man and Dracula. You have stuff from a bunch of different things where this one is very much just in the Star Wars universe. I think I like the Unmatched way better because I think it's neat taking characters that usually would never fight each other and matching them up with each other. This one kind of has that because you can match like Anakin Skywalker with Darth Vader, which would never be able to happen, but in this game you can kind of break that mold for it. So I like both of them. I give a little bit of advantage to Unmatched with the IPs though. Going to production quality. This is the Star Wars Epic Duels is a mass market game. This was made by Hasbro and Milton Bradley, and it was made 20 some years ago. So the production quality isn't the best. Each of the characters comes with at least 2 miniatures, because all of the characters in this are miniatures, even the sidekicks. And they are pre-painted miniatures, but they are pretty bad miniatures, and the paint jobs aren't like the greatest. Even like the clone troopers that you have, they are all white, and then they have a black gun that they're holding. So it's not very good quality. It's what you would expect from a mass market game from 2002, basically, where Unmatched, the production quality of those miniatures are awesome, and those aren't painted, but they're really good miniatures, and they have a wash to them, so they look really nice. But Unmatched doesn't all their sidekicks are just tokens rather than miniatures. So maybe a Star Wars Epic Duel gets a little bump up for having all of them be miniatures in that case. For player count, this game goes from 2 to 6 players, where Unmatched is only a 2 to 4 player game currently. You could play up to 6 players. You could, but there currently is not a rule set that says you can officially. Where Star Wars Epic Duels, that 2 to 6 player count, I really like playing it at 6 players because you put all of the miniatures on this map, and the maps aren't that big, but it just feels like a big epic battle, a big epic duel, and it holds up to its name for that. I really like seeing all the miniatures on there, and everybody's maneuvering around, battling each other, and it just looks pretty cool when you're having a big fight. It works fine as a 2 to 4 player game as well, but I really found myself I enjoyed the 2 to 6 the 6 player mode for this one. As far as the characters, because the characters are going to be the crux of the game. Unmatched is Unmatched because of the characters and the asymmetry with those characters. In Star Wars Epic Duel, it comes with 12 characters in this box, which is huge. But in Unmatched, the biggest box they have for characters is a 4 character set. This comes with 12 out of the gate. Each character comes with a deck, a main person, and at least 1 sidekick. Then they all have the regular combat cards, and then they have their special ability cards, which the special ability cards is what's going to give the asymmetry to these characters. And that's where this game takes a little bit of a hit compared to Unmatched, because this game, you have about 10 or 11 cards in each deck that makes that character unique and individual and gives them a little bit of asymmetry difference compared to the other characters in this game. Where in Unmatched, basically all of the cards are asymmetric. You know, this character's really good at this, and they have a bunch of cards that do all of this. In Unmatched, you don't really have these regular combat cards where that's all they do is combat. Very few of them, I should say. Most of Unmatched cards have some kind of ability on them, where only like 30% of the cards in Epic Duels has abilities. Also, Unmatched has each character have some inherent abilities, where these are just regular characters. They don't have inherent abilities that they have just all the time. So the characters, they have some asymmetry, which I like, but just not as much as Unmatched. The maps in this. The map for this is just a big grid of squares. And the maps are one of the weak points of this game, because the movement is not interesting in this game. So you're just going to move, if you're a couple melee characters, you're just going to move to each other and then just whack at each other for a while. There's not much strategy because of how the grid is laid out in this. It's just a big grid. You have some spots that are you can't move through this or you can't shoot through this. But for the most part, it's just a big grid. Just go towards each other and fight. Where Unmatched has the circle sort of movement options. You're moving from one circle to the other, and there's different zones in Unmatched. So a ranged character can hit other characters in their particular zone. So the maps definitely go to Unmatched, where the maps are a pretty weak point, I think, in Epic Duels. As far as the gameplay of this, the gameplay from Unmatched to Star Wars Epic Duel is so similar. There, you get 2 actions each turn, but the differences are that in Star Wars Epic Duels, you have to roll that dice and then you move your characters if you want to. Where Unmatched, one of your actions is moving, but you also get to draw a card whenever you move. And since the movement's more interesting in Unmatched compared to that, it's just Unmatched definitely gets a heads up on that. The movement and the map are definitely weak points for Star Wars Epic Duels if you're going to compare it to Unmatched. So as far as the gameplay, they're very similar with just those tweaks in the movement part and how you're moving around that grid, and the fact that you can just draw a card with Unmatched when you're moving, where this you have to move and then you can use actions to draw cards. So Unmatched is just a little bit cleaner of a system, a little bit better of a system, and that makes for like the strategy and tactics of these games. Star Wars Epic Duel is it feels like a much lighter game. It's not a heavy strategy or tactical game, because you are just, if your melee characters just boom, just collide, and then you're just playing cards trying to bash each other's brains in, basically. It's fun, it's light, but if you're looking for that heavy strategy game, Unmatched is a much more strategic, tactile game, wondering what all the other characters or what the other people are planning on doing, trying to avoid that, trying to maneuver in a position where they can't do that. Where Star Wars Epic Duels is just a clash. That's what it is. And so, my overall thoughts of Star Wars Epic Duels, I am glad I own this game. I enjoy it. I'm going to give this game, I would say, a 7.5. It's a fun game that's very reminiscent of Unmatched. You can see very evidently that Unmatched came from this game. Just the weak points, like I said, is the movement and the grid of this game. Other than that, the characters are fun. I enjoy the Star Wars IP, and I think I could really homebrew this and home rule it to where I'm going to give it the Unmatched rules, where I can get rid of that dice, and then if I choose to move, then I'm going to draw a card. And I think that will change a lot. Also, if I want to, I could throw these characters on some Unmatched maps, which are going to make the game a little bit better, I think. But other than that, I think this was a fun game. I really enjoyed it. What I would really want for Unmatched is for Unmatched to come full circle and eventually start making some Star Wars sets. 2 or 3 Star Wars sets with these characters or whatever characters they wanted would be awesome. That would be like a dream set for me if Unmatched made some Star Wars sets. But that will complete this review of my Grail game. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I own it now. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to show some friends, especially if they're lighter gamers who enjoy the Star Wars IP. But yeah, make sure to comment down below, what is your Grail game? Have you played this particular game? If you have, do you have some fond memories of it, especially if you played it years and years ago? Either way, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe to see more weekly content from me, Shane, at the board meeting in the future. Hope you all have an amazing day. Take care.